Hey, Fox News alert. The jury is deliberating right now after prosecutors spent hours this morning taking their final shots at the evidence presented by the defense. So, how did they do? Let's bring in forensic pathologist and Fox News contributor, Dr. Michael Baden. Thanks for joining us, Doctor.
Hi, Molly. Good to talk to you.
Well, let's start with the forensic evidence, of course. The defense throughout the course of this trial has tried to make the prosecution look like they're just putting out a lot of junk science, but prosecutors have been working hard to prove otherwise, going over everything from chloroform to the trunk. How do you think they've done it? Have they proven their case?
Well, I think the prosecution probably have proven the case for the benefit of the jury, but they've used a lot of bad science in doing it, and perhaps the worst is the cause of death. 3 forensic pathologists, 2 in the medical examiner's office and Dr. Spitz, all testified there was not enough information, not enough evidence to say what the cause of death was. The death certificate says undetermined cause of death. So Mr. Ashton relied upon today in his statement on what he got an anthropologist to testify who's never done an autopsy, who's never issued a cause of death, but who made that very inflammatory photographs of the head of the baby morphing into a skull and saying that and showing how 3 pieces of duct tape were put on the nose and mouth. That is unsubstantiated. This person testified much beyond his expertise, and that's what Ashton relied upon. There's other evidence, too. The whole sniffer machine in the court has never been permitted into court before. Novel and untested and unconfirmed evidence should not be allowed in, according to the U.S. Supreme Court. But Perry, as the gatekeeper, let a lot of this material in.
And you know, that's exactly what the defense has argued, that there's been a lot of junk science in this trial.
Yes.
Let's take a listen to Jose Baez, the defense lawyer, and what he's had to say in these final hours. Take a listen.
This is the level of absurdity, the desperation that this prosecution will take it to. They'll take it to the next level. They'll ask you to see things that aren't there. And they'll ask you to imagine fictional science. It's a fantasy of forensics, is what it is. A forensic fantasy.
What are your thoughts on that wording, that this is a forensic fantasy?
Well, I think there's some merit to what he's saying, and my concern is about the forensics. Bad forensic science drives out good forensic science, and I think that what's happened here is that this bodes ill for the future in other trials, that unless this is reversed on appeal, which it may be, a guilty verdict, that more bad science will be permitted in by other judges. Fantasy, disappearing science, that a heart image was present on duct tape that other people had looked at the FBI lab but had not seen, and the trainee who saw it was allowed to testify about seeing it, but it disappeared before she could take a photograph of it. That should not be allowed in. That's just, trust me, I'm telling you the truth, and that's why sometimes innocent people get convicted.
All right. Thank you so much, Dr. Michael Baden, for weighing in on this today. Of course, it's up to the jury now to determine fantasy from reality.
Thank you, Molly.
Thank you. John?
Let's continue our discussion on